What is up, everyone? Train Freak here. Today I've got a little bit of a layout update. I apologize that I haven't put a video out in a while as far as layout updates go. Haven't really worked on the layout much. Been trying to work on myself with some things. So yeah, that I had to kind of put myself first and my family and put the layout on the back burner, because I will tell you that I kind of did not have my priorities straight. So I'm working on that, still working on it, but things are getting better. But if you notice, I have came out here and tinkered with this some, and that's probably going to be one of the first things that you see. So I've got the layout lighting kind of dim right now because I want you to see the animation. So that is a Miller Engineering lighted sign, and I do know that I need to black out the windows on the brewery. Fully aware of that. I plan on doing it. I just haven't done it yet. I've got down here another section of the building where it fell, a couple windows popped out, but I've got construction paper underneath, so that's what I'm actually going to use to black out a lot of the windows on the inside. So with that being said, that's the first thing I did. Now, why did I go ahead and get the animated sign up? And you know, when I've been working on the sawmill complex, which we will get to, well, I decided, I looked at all the requirements for my NMRA electrical certification to become a master model railroader. And that was one of the things I was lacking. However, something else I was lacking, we're going to kind of look up under the layout, is that guy there. That is called a NCE CP6. And what it does is it detects a short on the track. So I'm going to go ahead and short a piece of track here. And you can see that that light comes on as I short it out. There we go. But it leaves different sections of the layout on, so it's only shorting now one section. So one of the things that I had to do in this room is I had to break up different areas of the track for for different sections. So I actually put staging on sections 5 and 6. I actually did it together. So each section on this CP6, each fuse, only does, there it is, right there. Well, each bulb will only cover up to 1 amp. And with staging having a lot more locomotives, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, but we're going to try. I don't think you can kind of see it. But if you look right up here above the bulbs, you can see where I soldered a piece of wire. And down here below the bulbs, you can kind of see where there's a jumper wire that ties 5 and 6 together. So if something shorts, actually both of those bulbs light up. So that actually gives me 2 amps of protection. So that was one of the main things that I needed for my NMR electrical certification. So like I said, panning back over here, staging is on 5 and 6 tied together. All of Wiener and just the main line in front of Hickory Ridge, and the main line in front of Brinkley, and then the main line all the way up to the helix is going to be on section 2. Alright. Section 3 is the 4 industries and the marshalling yard for Hickory Ridge. Section 4 is the interchange yard and the few industries that are going to make up Brinkley, along with the staging track that goes back here for the Rock Island. So you can see my locomotive down here is lit up. That's because it's got power. But that's on section 4. Or section 3. I apologize. 3 for Brinkley. 4, I ran the wire, and it's actually, well, I ran it mostly. I didn't run it all the way. But running another bus line, but I ran plenty of it. So you can see it's coiled. That is actually for the helix. So I still got to run it this way. And if you're wanting to know where the helix is going to be, I'm going to kind of show you the floor. Wall's going to 45 out to about here. Then it comes this way. The helix is going to be in this area right in here. Okay. So it will be 36 inches or 3 feet from the front of the layout. Will be my helix. All right. Awesome. So I had to get that done because that is required. One of the other things that I had to do, speaking of, is the temporary bridge. I took it back out. And I've got this wired back as the reversing loop. So I went ahead, did that as well. Mainly because that is another requirement for the electrical certification. I don't have the whole thing printed in front of me, but there is quite a few things that you have to do. And you have to have like either a reversing loop, a full Y, not a tracks piece that's called a Y, but an actual full Y, which looks like a triangle, where you can turn locomotives around, fully around. A turntable, which I do have. I do have a turntable. It's just going to go on the lower level. Or a transfer table. And so those, I just went ahead and wired the reversing loop back up. Then, let's see, after that, some of the other things that I needed done is I got the buildings over here wired in. So when the layout turns on, these actually will light up automatically. I do have them on a separate Derail power supply. So what I might end up doing is buying another indicated light switch and maybe put in a double gain box. So for those who don't know electrical terms, this is a single gain, that is a single gain, but this is what turns my layout on and off. And I love the lighted indicator. So what I might end up buying is one of these, but a double gain, because it's going to be mounted on the bottom level of the layout. And I'll have one that powers the DCC system and the LCC, and then I'll have a second one that powers this power supply individually, which would be my lights. The animated signs are connected to track power, so whenever the DCC system comes on, those animated signs come on. For this one here, I do have a converter module there that will allow me to do up to 6 signs. So I do have an animated sign. I've put it up somewhere, so I got to find it. But it's going to come over here in the sawmill, and it's actually my Smokey the Bear sign. And so I'll run a little bitty power feed from that sign over here all the way to over here to connect to it. And so it will actually be on the tracks section with Hickory Ridge. All right, something that I want to show you that's pretty cool. Check these out. These are some 3D printed dumpsters that John Schuylkill River Valley made me. And kind of because I was venting some frustration on a chat, one of the chat rooms, I don't remember which one, this was months ago, where I've actually contacted 2 companies that offer custom 3D prints, and they both turned me down on them. I don't know why they did, but they both did, even after I sent them pictures. I think John did an excellent job, and he did actually 4 different designs for me. So he did 3 of the big ones with 1 door open, 2 doors open, or both doors closed. That one's actually really heavy. And then he did the small version, which is opened. So not sure exactly which industries or buildings are going to get which dumpsters. I might put this one over at Homer's Donuts. I think that would be pretty cool. But I still need to get them painted up. Who knows when I'll be able to do that. And He even gave me some decals for them too to put on there that says Dempster Dumpster. So those are dumpsters that are rated for like 1930s to 1960, or probably even into the 60s. So John, thank you so much for those. I really, really appreciate it. So some of the other things, as far as the electrical AP, you got to wire 3 different types of track. I mean, I've got turnouts over here, got a double crossover here, I got single crossovers, I got double slips. That's pretty easy. You just have to have 3 different types of trackage. That has to be wired up. And then 3 other electronical features, which one of them that I'm going to use is turnout indication. Well, there we go. I think I got my veto set on JMRI. That's one of those are not working. So turnout indication for sure. And then, you know, like lighted buildings and stuff. And then, of course, the animated sun. So that should suffice me for everything I need for the electrical AP. All right, so let's go on with some of the scenery stuff that I have been working on, because I have been working over here in you know, the sawmill, Rita's Ash Works. I put me a little bitty hill here, so kind of give a little bit of scenery break. But this is what the really cool part is. This kind of gives you an idea. Now, it's only plaster, but check that out. Now, I still got some holes I need to patch. Looks like I got a little bitty hole down here under my pipe. But if I was to bring my train, which I have one sitting there, across this, it actually looks really, really cool. Now, if you're asking, well, how in the world did you do all this, Jason? So first I start off with aluminum window screen. Okay, it's pretty malleable, or not malleable, but you can contour it the way you want it. You can use newspaper to kind of help hold different sections in place, but you know, you just staple it down, and then you do a Paris of plaster mix. And I like to use these little bowls here, and let me show you why, because they're flexible, and so when you get done, all you got to do is just flex this stuff, and the stuff will actually crumble off. Look at there. See how it's just flaking right off, and it flakes right down in the bowl. So I use those little bowls, and I'll go back and forth, let one of them dry while I'm doing a pour on the other. But I have a semi-wet pour, because what I'm wanting is I want the plaster to kind of go into the screen, so I don't want it set too thick. I want it pretty wet. And by the time this stuff cures, this stuff here, this aluminum window screen, acts like rebar. So, kind of, I don't know how well that's going to focus. There you go. So you see how it kind of goes through? And it didn't go through enough here. I think I made it just a little too thick. But you can kind of see where it did go through part of it. And then what I do is I just take, you know, a finger or two, and I just kind of smooth it out and contour it. Now, if I wanted something a little more like mountain cuts and whatnot, a spoon does a great trick, because you can use a spoon to kind of carve out like a depression, like a saddle. But if you want like hard cuts, you take the back of a spoon and you can actually cut in your cracks and stuff while it's still you know, setting per se, or like right after you put it on. So for the time being, I've got all the creek, got the pond and the creek back there, and it's supposed to wrap around this little hill. So I've got all that done. Now I just need to plaster all of this up here, but I left this open for this update so you could kind of see what it looks like underneath. It's literally just scrap pieces of wood randomly placed, glued in, with window aluminum screen stapled to those scrap pieces of wood with newspaper shoved up underneath to kind of give some round contours. I'm not looking necessarily for mountains over here. I'm more or less looking for hills, kind of like rolling hills. But in this instance, this is kind of like a cut. So the rock, it's going to be a little bit steeper, and I will probably put in like gashes and stuff here for more kind of a visual scene here. And then we'll eventually get it painted, get it flocked, and we'll make some more trees to go on top of it. As far as the water feature goes, I'm gonna move these out of the way so y'all can see it a little better. I still got to clean up all of that. There's my 2 pipes, and they're in solid. This is what the log loader looks, or the log loader looks like. As I went around the creek, I've kind of built like a little bitty levee. So you get a little bit of a levee there, which is pretty cool. But really, I only need the water. If I set this down, there we go. I only need the water to come up to those two, to these legs. So the water feature. So I'll probably have to end up putting in like a stick or something to act as a log to kind of hold, kind of put a little bit of weight of that down, because I want that to go down in the water, not sit on the water. And then of course I got my 2 little log boats that John Goforth worked up for me. One of them I'll tie off. I might try to put a dock in somewhere. If I put in a dock, it'll probably be like maybe over here. Might make sense. Not really sure where I should put a dock at on this. But I got 2 of these because I thought it'd be pretty cool to have one of them tied up and one guy working on it. And then, just not really sure if I'm going to add any more type of scenery here besides trees in this area. I might not. I don't know yet. So, and then of course I'll have to do some stuff back there with some of my buildings and whatnot too. So you can see my tub that's with plaster of Paris in it. So I've been working out of the hole because it's much easier to climb in there and reach everything here. Now when I get ready to plaster this, I will have newspaper, between this and the where I'm actually plastering, because I don't want to damage the backdrop. So first and foremost, or I can remove this guy out and just try to work my plaster to the edge of it, but it's just going to be kind of hard to tie all this over here in. So, alright. Well guys, that's pretty much it where I'm at right now as far as the layout update. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of gently pull this guy forward so that way you can see what it looks like when you have a locomotive above it. It's, kind of like he's fixing to go across. I mean, that's a pretty neat little shot, but I'm still not done with this. This is not the finished product by far. I do have some of these rocks that I bought at Michael's. I'd like to thank Darrell on that for telling me I'm going to actually fill the whole bottom with the rocks and stuff, because we really don't want much water on this side. We want that side full, this side pretty much empty. So, but yeah, that's where I'm at with that. And then as far as my colors, the top, the base coats on the top is going to be PPG ponytail brown. As far as the bottom and the sides of the river, it's probably going to be a much darker brown, but I don't know exactly what color yet. So that will be on a future update. And going back to the NMRA certification, when my division director is able to attend and he passes me off on everything, then I will share with you what I did to complete that certification. So other than that, I'm going to let y'all have it. Y'all be safe out there. I wish y'all a great week. and happy railroading.